Now, as strange as all of the preceding may have sounded, my intention here is twofold. First, to impress upon you once again how truly natural the secret of the universe is. The metaphor of God being pregnant with us cannot present a more poignantly natural vision of reality. And the second part of my intent is to set the premise for this next illustration. Now, this is just a very abstract representation of the three stages of our existence that I've just been talking about. This first rectangle here symbolizes the 9 months we spend as unconscious fetuses floating in the amniotic water of our mother's womb. This next larger rectangle symbolizes the 70 or so years we spend as semi-conscious humans floating in the ethereal water, so to speak, of God's womb. And this last rectangle symbolizes the eternity we will spend in true reality in our fully conscious, fully revealed spirit form. Now, to understand the perspective of the scale represented here, if you can just imagine the other end of this rectangle stretching off camera and then out beyond our solar system, beyond the Milky Way galaxy, through the 20 billion light-year expanse of the universe, past the light barrier boundary of the universe itself, and then out into absolute infinity, you will then get some idea of the size of this rectangle compared to the others. And the point is that this is the scale by which we can measure the significance of the next dimension compared to this one. Now, what I'm trying to convey to you is the understanding that true reality and the form we will acquire therein is so incredibly advanced relative to this form and reality that once we are born into it and have spent some serious time there, our perspective of our stay within the universe will be a higher dimensional equivalent of the same perspective that we have right now regarding our stay in our mother's womb. It will be something that was meaningful at the time, but will no longer be of any concern to us. Now, what all of that ultimately implies, and I said I was going to get graphic with this placenta metaphor, what it all implies is that everything that seems so important to us right now, meaning all of the circumstances of the entire human experience within the cosmic womb of God's universe, and that includes all of the physiological, psychological, sociological, and even theological circumstances, are nothing more than the metaphorical equivalent of amniotic water that will run down God's leg when the placenta breaks. Now, there's a vision for you. Not to mention the mother of all anthropomorphic images. But remember, I said in episode 4 that I wanted to explore the philosophical implications of the ultimate seed concept to see what it really meant to us here on Earth. Well, like it or not, the implications are profound when it comes to de-emphasizing the importance of human matters within the universe. The problem is that the ideas I am promoting are so vastly out of context when viewed from our present perspective that they sound ridiculous. And that is the problem I've been confronted with throughout this entire series. Because I am speaking as if we were all positioned out here in true reality, perhaps billions of years into the future, looking back at our stay within the universe. And many aspects of this outer dimension are indeed out of context when viewed from within this dimension. In the same way that many aspects of this dimension, meaning the world and the universe, are out of context when viewed from within this dimension of our mother's womb. For example, you would not make an incision in the abdominal wall of a pregnant woman and then take the key to a shiny new Corvette and place it in the hand of the fetus within her womb. The fetus has no use for that key in its present state of mind and physical condition, for it is totally unconscious of that inaccessible outer dimension where the corvette sits, and it will only do damage to itself and the general order of the womb by poking and thrashing the key around. Even though that corvette key corresponds with a true aspect of this outer dimension, it represents a higher level of consciousness and reality to which the fetus is yet to be born, and is completely out of context within that womb. The key has no business being in the hand of the fetus, and we, as caring stewards of the well-being of our progeny, would not place it there either. Now the same thing applies to the universe and God's caring stewardship over His progeny. There are realities of this outer dimension that, if placed in the hands of humans and viewed out of context, would only damage and disrupt the general order of God's womb. And as incredible as it may sound, especially in light of the subject material of this lecture series, absolute knowledge of our ultimate destiny is one of those potentially damaging realities that has no business being known to us while we function in the universe. And because of that, God does everything He can to prevent us from obtaining it fully. Only when we complete our second and final birth through the process that we call death will the truth be absolute for us. So in other words, what I am saying is that for our own good, like us keeping the corvette key out of the hands of the fetus, God purposely keeps us in the dark, so to speak, in kind of an all-encompassing veil of unconsciousness that literally obscures not only true reality from us, but also God Himself. And what I am furthermore saying is that this veil of unconsciousness to which I am referring is the veritable linchpin of the universe. And understanding why it exists will help to answer many questions regarding God's motives, including why He does not reveal Himself and end the suffering and madness of the world.